So you'd started off, you said in college you didn't even major in art, and
Right.
you were in math?
Mm-hmm.
And
I'd always done art, but I felt a lot of pressure in art to make work that meant something. And I didn't feel like I had enough experience, and I didn't really want to do still lifes of apples and peppers. So I really loved calculus.
oh, yeah, I did too.
Excellent. And there was just some fantastic professors at my school in math and physics, and the math professor actually was a naturalist and led tours of the campus every Wednesday morning at 7:30, which was a little early and rough for me as a college student. But we'd walk around campus with whoever wanted to join and identify plants. And he talked about natural history, like what had been there before, things like the chestnut blight, how that affected the plants that were there and what was growing, what wasn't. And then also how to identify plants, for example, trees was our main focus, by how they stood or how the branches fell or their posture in a way. Kind of like people. You see somebody you know walking and you're like, I know that person because that's how they carry themselves. Well, trees and plants have the same thing because of like the angle of their branches to the trunk and how their leaves bunch or attach to the branches. So interestingly enough, I learned a lot about plants through my math teacher.
And then some of the flowers have a mathematical formula you can assign to them. The way they blossom is really unusual. Well, that's cool. And then that led into printmaking, or someone you mentored you as far as printmaking?
I took a class.
Okay.
And
it was not a required class.
No, it wasn't a required class, but I just kept taking art classes.
Okay.
So I took some sculpture, I took some other things, and I took some printmaking, and it blew me away. I'd always painted, and okay, this is nice. You know, I loved painting, that was great, and I liked drawing. But I took a printmaking class, and it was just like, this is it. This is what I like doing. Largely because it's very drawing oriented. It doesn't have to be, but it can be, and for me it was, and it allowed me to create through drawing rather than being a painter. Because I'm drawing on plates, I was drawing on wood blocks and then carving them. It almost gets sculptural because you're working on the 3D element. So a lot of printmakers are sculptors as well. But also the process of printmaking, like you have to etch things for a certain amount of time. How you draw lines, how you put the grounds on, the wax coating, how long you etch things for can change the line width. And so each part of the process affects how this image looks. So it's a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of math and process tied in with drawing.
Wow. So I wish we could show it right now. Go look at it, but we'll just imagine. It's really cool.
Yes.
And then using this press you got from somewhere, Connecticut, is that correct?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those states, yeah.
So my press is the etching press of the artist Leonard Baskin, and he is a giant in the 20th century. He's also very much a printmaker, huge monumental woodcuts, gorgeous etchings. He made artist books, and he also did stunning bronze sculptures and tied in a lot with myth and history. So I got to know his work. A lot of his work inspired my artist books. I saw them and thought, that's fantastic. How do I do that? And I got to meet him at one point, and it was actually his last art critique before he passed away. And then got to know the family, and eventually I got his etching press when there were nobody else had a need for it, and it was getting rusty in the barn. And so I worked with somebody to clean it up and had it shipped here to Leavenworth.